Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Pathways to Excellence. We have here with us today one of Sarawak's incredible young talents right here, Mr. Joel Pang. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Joel. Really, really appreciate it.
Hi, Victor. Thank you for having me. It's a
Yes.
pleasure to be on your YouTube channel.
Wow. So yes, congratulations, by the way, on getting into Cambridge University. And quick primer for everybody out there in the audience. So Joel essentially has been admitted to Cambridge University to study, if I'm not wrong, chemical engineering.
So I've been offered to study chemical engineering and biotechnology at Robinson College. Yeah,
Wow, congratulations. Cool, cool, cool.
thank you so
Amazing.
much.
Wow. And it seems that you've been watching Pathways for a while. And wow, I did not expect I did not expect that like from you right there, but thank you so much for watching this show. It means a lot to me, but I'm just curious, like how did you even find this in the first place?
I actually met you in US apps. Maybe you don't know me then, but I actually went to the US apps program like in last year, I think. Yeah, and
Ah, I
that's
see.
when
Okay.
I follow your IG and then suddenly, oh, hey, this guy's doing interviews on universities that I really want to go. So then like I click on every single one of them. Like I used to listen to them like as like hell. So like those videos just give me like a bit of motivation.
So, I mean, just from the fact that, you're a KY student, I mean, like, it's like the best performing school in the entire country for people gaining admission to Harvard, for example. And if I'm not wrong, 50% of the population there is essentially scholars, and you are essentially a shell scholar as well, right? So, like, alongside people like Saiful Azhar and then like Adriana, basically also a shell scholar, if I'm not wrong.
The Shao family. We call it the Shao family.
The Shell family.
Yeah.
Wow, interesting. So to kind of like even go up to that point, which is where you are right now. So maybe would you share with me a little bit about, what your childhood was like? I guess like what led you eventually to become who you are? Well, I just know that you're a part of the Sarawak Student Initiative, and
Yeah.
upon, I guess, a first impression, I might say that he's probably from Sarawak, but I don't actually know. So, like, yeah, will you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So I was born and raised in Kuching, Sarawak, like
Ah,
the
I see.
city parts of Sarawak. So just a
Okay,
bit
that was right then.
there. Yeah, so we don't live on trees and we do have Wi-Fi. Although like not very strong Wi-Fi, but we still do have Wi-Fi. Um yeah, and then I say like it was because of my childhood in Sarawak and how I grew up in Sarawak that I speak very broken English or very broken Malay.
You're doing
Yeah,
all right.
yeah. I don't know, like this is because like I'm conversing like this, but in daily life, like I speak very broken English. So like yeah. And yeah, because I was raised in a family, like I have Hokkien roots, I have Hakka roots, I have Teochew, Fuzhou roots, and also have like
Mm.
uh my family also speaks Bahasa Sarawak, Bahasa Iban and all that. So like having to juggle all that. Actually it's actually like made me who I am today, I would say. Like yes, allowed me to appreciate the multiplicity of my identities. And yeah,
Mm.
like I've learned so much more about myself and my roots and like becoming more Chinese. But a fun fact about me is that because of all these languages, um, although I can speak dialects perfectly, I can't. I can speak Mandarin, but I can't read or write Mandarin. So you can call me a banana. But yeah,
Ah, okay, I see, I see. Well, no shame in that. I mean, if the occasion comes up, then maybe then you'll learn more of that at some later point as well. Would you share a little bit about, well, what was, I guess, like driving you to excel in your studies? I guess like from that sort of like beginning right there, because like you mentioned like a bunch of different things, like multiplicity of identities essentially, and of course like like the decision to really like excel in a person's studies is not something that like comes randomly, right? I think, or maybe it might come randomly, maybe there was an accident kind of thing, you tripped, you fell, and then like basically like you knocked your head the wrong way right there, and then you just decided to study like crazy like day on and day out right there. But yeah, I guess like how did that part of your identity that valued academics get built, I guess, like from those early beginnings in Sarawak?
I think because I've always wanted to pursue my studies overseas.
Mm.
Like I've always wanted to study in the US, but then suddenly like Cambridge came, so like now I'm having like a crisis right there. Um, but I've always wanted to see what life was outside of Sarawak. So
Mhm.
when I was young, I actually migrated to Australia for 1 year. So I
Wow.
actually had a taste of Australian education. And since then, like I've never looked back. Like I've kept comparing my experience in Australia to what education
Wow.
right here in Malaysia. So I feel like I really enjoy the other perspectives from outside. And
I
yeah,
see.
like the multiplicity of identities, like um yeah, it's really taught me to appreciate like the different perspectives many different people have around the world. And yeah, I guess that has led me to uh pursue my studies and
Oh, but that's
become like
incredible
the
though.
driving
Like
factor.
you went off to Australia, but like what made you not stay then?
Oh, because my dad was conducting research with some professor there. So
Mm.
he brought the whole family along like for 1 year. So
I see, I
I
see, I
studied
see. Cool, 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 cool.
a year in primary school there.
I see. Well, I mean, your journey is not even over yet at this point. I mean, like you did get Cambridge, but I mean, like you still are applying to some US universities, right? And yeah, so like fingers crossed for you this Ivy day. Who knows? Maybe there's like some prophetic activity that's going on right here. By any chance, you know Alyssa Yap at Harvard? I mean, like she is also a Sarawakian, is she not?
Yeah, I contacted her actually to get some advice for Harvard. And yeah, for Sarawak Student Initiative, we contacted her to inspire more Sarakians to
I
apply
see.
to the US as well.
Okay, incredible. Cool, 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 cool. Well, let's talk a bit more about, well, SSI for a quick bit. So, like, just also for the people in the audience, what is SSI? What do you guys do? And I guess like what do you guys aim to accomplish in this world?
Yeah, sure. So basically, Sarawak Student Initiative is basically like in its name is a initiative fully led by Sarakian students to uh increase the awareness in higher education and also to promote scholarships among people in like young students in Sarawak. So the main problem that we face like in our community back home is that we don't like recognize the awareness of higher education. Like most of my friends my age, like they don't recognize like higher education. So basically in
Mm.
Sarawak, like we don't have access to all of this information as much as our Western peers. Like sorry to say, but like
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it's a reality. So like for speaking of personal experience, like I personally I did not know anything about like UCAS or like the Common App like prior to coming to KY. And I we were spoon-fed knowledge by like education agencies at the school. Oh, there are only two options can go. Number one, Form 6. Number two, foundation. Foundation, where? Somewhere university. So like that's
Mm.
like the only options we have. So it was until then that I realized, oh, okay, there are more options. You want to study locally, you want to study internationally, there's way more pathways for that. For example, locally you can study like UPU, you can apply through UPU for matriculation, SRC and all that. And whereas like for international routes, you can study like A levels, IB, yeah, OSMAT and so much more. So it was because
Mm.
of my struggles and a bunch of like other people, like other friends' struggles that we really resonated with Sarat Student Initiative,
Mm.
like that Karim and Edmund founded. So then we became the co-directors of Sarat Student Initiative. And
Ah.
basically, so last year was our term as co-director. So we had I would say four events, two major one and two minor ones. Two minor ones were like a bunch of IG an Instagram series, and two of which were like major events. One of it was the Sarawak Outreach Education Roadshow that
Mm.
we held physically in Kuching, Miri, Bintulu, and Cebu. And the other one was a flight subsidy program.
Mm.
So this flight subsidy program aims to subsidize like students who receive interview offers. So the thing about like these scholarship bodies is that they rarely consider that going to their interview
Mm.
location like doesn't necessarily like can be reached by car. I wish we could drive
Oh yeah,
to
yeah.
the peninsula,
Mm.
but unfortunately we had to like take a flight there, and often like
Mm.
these last minute flights really like take a toll on like some people. So we often have to like book flights and like fork our own money to chase
Mm,
something so uncertain
mm,
that I'm not sure like whether you even get it or not. So I obviously
yeah. Mm,
experienced this, and I've and actually like I've met some people like through this like subsidy program, like we've managed to encourage a few more Sarakians to actually apply
mm,
and go for those interviews because
that's
like
great.
we're backing them. Yeah.
I see.
So in essence, I think yeah, it has been a really rewarding journey as
I
co-director.
bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like you're doing like some great work. I mean, can I tell you a sad story, by the way? Like it's kind of related to like what you actually mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
but it's kind of yeah, contextualized in my situation as well. I mean, like I too know the struggle of like going for scholarship interviews kind of thing. So then like eventually I got the JPA scholarship. But so like this is not a story about me. It's actually about somebody whom I met at the interview. So this person actually went through the exact same thing that you were mentioning earlier, flew over from Sarawak over to the place of the scholarship interview. And essentially, yeah, so like it was pretty costly for her and her entire family. Who essentially even put up for like a few nights basically in I guess like the peninsula, and I think they spent like somewhere upwards of like 2,000 if I'm not wrong, which is
Wow.
probably expensive for like like a family. I mean like I don't know how like wealthy they were, but like it's not like a small expense by any means.
Mm.
But you know what's the kicker? The kicker is that she didn't even qualify for the scholarship. Like she didn't read the basic information. She didn't even know that basically like you're only supposed to apply if you actually have a confirmed admission letter. So then basically like her and her entire family flew over not just for something uncertain, but something that they definitely could not have gotten because they did not read the terms and conditions properly.
Oh
And
my
that's one of
God.
the reasons why I think that like what you're doing is so amazing. Like literally like I mean it's sad for her, but like you want like people to actually receive like better education and like a better awareness really of what they can or cannot get. So yeah. That's my sad story. But okay. So yeah, like when you were in I guess Sarawak, where did you go to school before you eventually went to Australia and then later on to KY?
Okay, so I think yeah, my like previous like experience was very like complicated. I'll start with primary school. So I
Oh,
went to a private school called Lodge National School for
oh
one
yes.
year. Then after that I went to Australia. I went to Perth, called Curtin Primary School, if I'm not wrong. Then
Wow.
after that I went back to Lodge for another year. Then after that I transferred to a government school. So that was like quite the change environment for me from like a private school and then to all the way to Australia, then back and
Wow.
then changing to a government school again. So thankfully in my secondary school I didn't change. I went to SMK Batu Lintang in Kuching, Sarawak, and then from then on I finished my SPM. No more school changes. I'm very thankful for that. Yeah.
Wow. Then later on to KY and then later
Yeah.
on to wherever comes next, I guess.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, maybe your parents were all like, let's put him through a variety of different experiences. Maybe he'll get like super smart right here, like just expose him to a variety of different things.
Yeah.
Who knows? Okay, cool. Well, all right. Now, so from your LinkedIn profile, I see that you're basically tremendously accomplished, and congratulations on your accomplishments. Of course, like beyond the Cambridge admit, I'm sure that you'll get many opportunities in the US as well. But I see also that you are essentially an avid participant in science fairs. You were part of the overall champion team in the National STEM Carnival. You are the chair and founder of my ISEF, so a launchpad for aspiring student researchers to join the International Science and Engineering Fair. You've essentially done a whole bunch of different things for AMISO as well, and so on and so forth. But yeah, I mean, like, would you, I guess, like, tell me a little bit about your experiences in essentially like some of these ventures out there? Like, what is motivating you to, I guess, like, take part in all of these different activities that you are taking part in, and how do you describe the core, I guess, of your interests at this point in time?
Yeah, sure. Okay, I'll guess I'll break it down like in terms of each of these endeavors. But I guess the main thing that ties it together is my love for scientific research. So basically like taking like inspiration from my dad. So my dad is also a lecturer at UNIMAS or University Malaysia Sarawak.
Mm.
So he does like work in chemistry. So every time like like he brings like my sister and I to his office, and every time I was like marveling at all the work that he has done. And
Wow.
after that, like I was like, oh, Dad, one day I want to be like you. I want to do research in like chemistry and all that. And thankfully, like in high school I had this opportunity. So I wasn't like satisfied. I like quote unquote satisfied with that like basic experiments we did in high school. So like I want to venture out more, and after that, like one thing led to another, and suddenly I found myself in the lab of like the very same university taught, like UNIMAS, like doing research on like
I see.
nanofibers and yeah,
Whoa.
extracting collagen and chitosan and doing all this like electrospinning. Yeah. Um yeah, from then on, I guess this drive for like STEM research and my interest in STEM really like skyrocketed from there. And from
Mm.
then on, from doing scientific research, I went on to join like many STEM related competitions like the young scientist competition, like which yeah, we won like the national champions. And then like um like basically that was my high school era, like the high school scientific researcher era. Um
Uh-huh.
but from once I went to KY, so like because my lab was back in Sarawak, right? So it would be impossible for me to like fly back like every week or every day just
Ooh,
to
okay,
conduct
okay.
research.
Yes, yes.
But my passion for research still didn't die. So
Mm.
that's why I started my ISAF. So which is a launchpad for like yeah, as I can see, it's a launchpad for budding scientists from all over Malaysia. So so after that, like we compiled like a step-by-step guide for a research project. So like how to like write a problem statement, how to brainstorm ideas,
Mm.
how to analyze your own data, how to present your own data and findings and stuff like that. Yeah. So those were the only things that I could do as a student
Mm.
here in KYUEM. Like even though the
Yeah.
yeah are great, but I can't, it's not like complete enough for me to do research.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, well, so other than that, I also participate in AMISO, like the STEM side also. I want to continue that. So
Mm.
we just recently we had our youth STEM experiment camp, like 20 in like last year in December. Um, yeah, so in that camp we actually like gave them exposure to research as well. We
Mm.
gave them problem sets, and then like they had to figure out innovative way like using
Mm.
experiments to like solve those problems. So I
Ah, I
guess
see.
yeah, the scientific researcher in me never really died. You can take the boy out of the lab, but you cannot take the lab out of the boy.
Wow, that's the quote of the day. It's funny because you know, like the KY experience thing that you mentioned actually was echoed by Melvin Cheng a while ago, talking about his transition from Chongling over to KY. Just you know, like of course, like maybe that's related to the focus of KY as a school, you know, like A levels type of thing right there. But wow, you really like adapted your situation. Like you took essentially a challenge and turned it into a triumph. So like well done. Wow. Hashtag bless. And yeah, also, well, I guess like since you are a part of AMISO, so that's like no surprise that you know people like ZZ,
Zhang and
you know that
Jared.
kind of people.
Insane people.
Yeah. Well, I mean like you know, like since you associate with one another, so then I think that maybe you're contributing towards that. We all take part in like feedback loops here and there everywhere anyway. Okay then. So like as part of like my ISEF, like did you actually like take part in like for example the ISEF, like you know like present a research project and stuff of that nature, or like was that something that was like not really possible for you at the time?
Yeah, this is a sad story. I
Mm,
actually wanted to participate in ISAF for like
mm,
three consecutive years. So the first year was I think it was like due to logistical issues, so I
mm.
couldn't participate. The second year was
Oh,
COVID, and then yeah, so bummer. The third year, I wanted participate, but because that time I was already in KY, and they had a policy where they will only allow students from government schools to join the national qualifying. So then I was like it's okay. But that didn't stop me though. Like the adapting the whole situation, adapting thing. I still wanted to present my research some way. So
Oh
I joined
no.
international research exhibition, invention exhibition, yeah, where I managed to sort of present my research as in ISAF, yeah. But my passion for research still didn't die. And that's why that was part of the reason why I started my ISAF also, to
I
get more
see. I
students into
see.
research and join ISAF, like, and not repeat what I did. So yeah.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So, okay, you've been essentially inhibited from, I guess, like the realization of that thing right there, but somehow or another that's like pushed through. Now, of course, like I think that it would be, shall we say, presumptuous of me to be able to capture like every single thing that you're interested in a mere like 30-40 minute-ish conversation. But what would you say, I guess, constitutes some of like your core research interests at this point? Like you mentioned like earlier, like what is that, like extracting chitosan and like
Yeah.
nanoparticles, that sort of thing right there. But yeah, share if you could.
I guess my inspiration, actually, I wrote this in my common art essay, but like I was inspired by my grandma who had diabetes, and yeah, so it's a bit of a sad story. So like
Mm,
then from then on, like after that, like I began to and I'm really passionate in like human-centric research. So I'm not so much into the research about like exploring outer space or like discovering new planets and like outer space. Understanding like the world beyond us, like, oh, I want to make a breakthrough in like plasma physics, or like, yeah, don't get me wrong, like those are incredible achievements. But for me, I feel like I want to make a breakthrough where it improves human lives. So the
mm,
main I guess the main driving factor for me, like in my research journey, is also being able to help the people around me. So since then on, like from the collagen nanofibers, I've started more projects on like healthcare and like more human-centric research. So an
mm,
example will be like I built a deep learning AI model to detect like irregularities in like the electrocardiogram. So it'll warn the user in advance of hypoglycemia incidents. Like again, use
mm,
like the common theme of like diseases and all that. Because I've lost quite a few people to diseases. So I understand what it's like. So I plan to
mm,
use my research to combat that. So like if they could um
mm.
hopefully see their family members for like a month longer or 1 second longer, yeah, that would be like the most amazing thing for me.
Wow. Okay, that's really touching, and I hope that you will get your wish in a whole bunch of different ways. Well, okay then. So I guess like, if you're interested in, I guess, developing like human-centric I guess like research right there. So then like the first immediate thought that comes to mind is like medicine naturally, or maybe like for example, as you mentioned earlier, deep learning, preemptive detection, like stuff on the watch, maybe. But like do you have any thoughts on, let's say, where treatments in the future might potentially take us in terms of maybe even not necessarily like healing existing diseases, but potentially even allowing us to transcend our current capabilities? Do you have a view on that? That essentially maybe like humans and like our biology is something to be augmented, or do you feel that biology itself should be something that is left intact, but then the problems that occur with it essentially, like are a going concern to be resolved?
Yeah, like this issue right now is very controversial, but I feel like all in all, uh I guess like this is from my perspective. So I
Mm,
feel like ethics and philosophy like really tie me back down to my roots and uh
mm,
tell me the purpose of what I'm doing this for. If like
interesting.
yeah, so basically like the balance. it helps me strike a balance between like going from a mad scientist to a normal human being. So yeah, I want to
Wow.
stay in that like region right there. But speaking of your on like my perspective on like the future of healthcare and stuff like that, I believe like as much as I believe that animal testing is like a sin or like it harms the animals and whatnot, but I also at the same time I also believe that it's a necessary evil for us to have
Mm,
like advancements in like medicine and all that. So
yeah.
I say it's sort of a gray area, like these sort of like
Oh yeah.
philosophical and ethical issues.
Oh yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
my philosophy is that as long as it's um beneficial to humans in the future and also um like but at the same time it must be beneficial to humans, but at the same time you must also like think of the ethical impacts and also like minimize the like necessary if you can minimize any like damage. So it's a matter of like checking and balances. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, we would. Do you watch Full Metal Alchemist, by the way? Like, have you watched it before? Have
No, I don't think so.
you never watched it? Oh, okay, I see. Should I spoil you? Do you care about spoilers?
No, I don't care.
You don't care
So
about spoilers?
the
Okay.
fun fact about me is that uh I predict like I like predict movie endings. So like for example like Infinity War. Like have you watched Infinity War? Like
There's like Snap, right? If I'm not wrong.
yeah. So like I predict like I knew that everybody was gonna die. So like even before, so like even for
Interesting.
Barbie, I knew like it was going to be a sort of like coming of age story. Like
Damn.
it's going to be a typical like girl and woman empowerment story. Like oh the Barbie world is not good for me. I'm gonna go into the real world.
Wow,
Yeah,
dang. Okay,
yeah. I
so
think.
like, so basically you can predict the future then. Can you predict my future?
um no I can predict only movie like what happens in the movie because it's very typical. But human lives, they're I believe like you create your own destiny. So very very like uh
Whoa. Well, some people might say that,
pragmatic.
we're all part of a movie. But okay, let's not get too much into that. But well, yeah, like Full Metal Alchemist basically is famous for the following scene right here. It really is a masterpiece, but like essentially it depicts the consequences of oh actually wait, no, I guess you can tell. Depicts the consequences of human experimentation. Basically, a father wants to make a scientific breakthrough and basically ends up combining his daughter with a dog. So
Oh no.
oh no,
Oh,
yeah, I know
okay.
it was a traumatic scene for like many of us who were watching this at the time, and it continues to be up until today. But anyway, yeah, so that's kind of interesting. Speaking of the ethics thing, I mean, like it seems that a lot of you guys in AMISO actually have like a concern with ethics right there. I'm not sure if you watched my previous interview with ZC and Jer Ren. So like we had a whole conversation about ethics right there. Do you have any thought on, for example, human experimentation? Like, is it something to be categorically denied, like the entire possibility written off as if essentially a pile of bad debts never to be resurfaced like within this lifetime? Or do you feel that there are certain circumstances under which it can potentially be made justifiable? Or is it like a binary no?
Again, I think it boils down to like the consequences of our actions and
Mm,
also like um what we'll get out of like researching like human experimentation and what will be the effects of human
mm,
experimentation.
I
If we
see.
could find like a sort of check and balance in between, then
Mm,
I think yeah, we should go for it. But if you cannot like justify if you like if it's type of like sacrifice like human lives just for
mm,
human experimentation that can be done without exploiting life, then I feel like it's ethically incorrect.
mm,
But if it's um sacrifice like human lives that like they consented and also like you're gonna make a big breakthrough in like healthcare and all that, yeah, then by all means go for it.
I
But
see. Mm,
I feel like in essence it all boils down to the same concept, yeah.
I see.
But for me I don't feel like prolonging aging and all those like reversing aging and like all those a bit like
I see.
off for me. Like I don't feel like those like you researching themselves to like extend your life by one to like I know like I'm contradicting myself like what I said just now, but I feel
I
like
see.
specifically like experimenting on humans. It's like whether you could like die 1 year earlier or die 1 year after. That's like for me not in my ethics or like philosophy.
Ah, I
So
see. Okay. So I noticed that you've actually expressed like an interest on LinkedIn in Harvard University. It's like literally one of your interests right there. I mean, like it's kind of hard to not notice. It's like literally down at the bottom right there. Here, let me show you. Look. So Joel Pang, da 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 da, and then interest Harvard University. There's some. So like, how do you feel about this right now? You know, like
um
if you were offered that choice right now, like Cambridge, Harvard, like what would you pick?
honestly, it would be a very, very hard decision. Like honestly, before this, I was dead set on going to the US, like because of the liberal arts and whatnot. But then suddenly, Cambridge came. Okay,
Mm,
honestly, like I'll separate this like by few stages of grief. I won't say grief, but like few stages of celebration. Like when I first got the offer, like the Cambridge offer, the email, I was like, oh, wow. Of all people that picked me. Okay, I have a very valid reason for that as well. I never expected myself to get into Cambridge. I know like I was like taught in my school in secondary school and whatever, but here in KY I'm not like there are so much more people talented than me. And especially like if we're comparing because like in the you in Cambridge we had like three stages. Like I think the personal statement is one, and then the my Cambridge application, and then we had our admissions test and also like the interview. I did disastrous. Like my performance on the interview and the admission test was disastrous. Like I'm not even
mm,
kidding. Like normally like admissions test scores you will get around like okay, most applicants they score around 4, and then like most admitted applicants they score around like seven and above
mm,
to get into Cambridge. But what I scored around like five and fours. And while my other
mm,
like my other friends they scored sevens and sixes, there was just me who scored 5, 4, and 5 of like all the
wow.
goals. So yeah, that went disastrously. That went yeah, my admissions test wasn't that great. But I thought I could make it up in the interview, right? So like but that time already like I decided like I already had this thought that I won't be getting into Cambridge. Like and now my but then like an interview offer popped up and I was like, oh actually I might still have a shot. So let's go for it. But in the interview, okay, I actually have a few
Oh my
funny stories.
gosh. Yeah, yeah,
I
go ahead.
had 2 interviews. One interview was with um a professor from Robinson College, which I'm hopefully I'm not sure I'll hopefully be going to in October. And then another one from Downing College. And then the first professor from Downing College, he looked at me like, oh, this guy can't do maths. Like legit, like his face, like I'm not sure I'm not sure what it is in English, but like how his face like 变黑 and then
So like if I were to emulate the face, is it like
yeah, like he's like you can tell the emotion in his face, like he was not
it's like
happy.
I have given up already. This
Yeah, like this
conversation is not worth
guy
my
can't do
time.
simple maths.
Oh gosh.
Like I actually like like Q equals MC theta, right? I forgot what C standard for, and after
Mm,
that, it just like he was so disappointed. And then the only like spark of hope was at the end when I answered like, oh what else do you think you consider? So I said about something like the heat loss and then like the latent heat of vaporization. And then like okay, his like his
expression
total lid
brightened.
like suddenly like turned into a smile. So okay, that was a very like rocky start already. But afterwards, my chemistry interview with my Robinson interviewer. So that went well, surprisingly. Yeah, could answer most of the questions like chemistry. But then the most interesting part came during the second interview. So like Cambridge interviews are very notorious for like asking like very out of the box questions. So my interviewer actually asked me two very out of the box questions.
Mm-hmm.
One was could you estimate the volume of water on Earth?
Ooh, I
Yeah.
see.
So
Okay.
then I was
Mm.
like doing all these calculations and all that, and then he's like, "Oh, can you tell me where you got this number from?" And then like that guy was like, like I memorized it in the textbook, but yeah, but I want to know how you got this number from. Like, can you estimate this value for me? But then after that,
Oh,
like that wasn't the
fun.
worst part. the worst part was, okay, actually don't know how I even got into Cambridge after saying this, but he asked me a question like, okay, let's say you're driving on the highway, right? And then like suddenly you push the brakes. Like, what would be the effects of you pushing the brakes? And then and then like you know what I answered? Like I answered, okay, do you want the physical effects or do you want the emotional effects? So so then I don't know what was wrong with me at that point, but yeah, but my interviewers all had a good laugh and I had a laugh as well. Then he like answered like, oh, physically. So then that wasn't the like pinnacle at that point. So then he asked, oh, then I answered like heat and everything, like friction and all that, and then like the skidding. And then afterwards he asked me, oh, like it generates heat, right? Yeah. So then I said, yeah. And then he said, oh, supposedly you can extract that heat in order to make a cup of tea. So how many cups of tea could you make? So I was like, at that point, I was dumbfounded. Like, what the hell does this guy want? And then um afterwards, like, oh, I counted things like, oh, conservation of energy. Like I started yapping. And then afterwards, yeah, so he said, oh, you're on the right track, but we don't have enough time to solve this question, so let's move on to the next interviewer. So my next interview, so that the next interviewer was from Newnham College, I think. Yeah. So she asked me about like bio. So she was like, oh, I see you take a subject compound of physics, chem, double maths, right? So you don't take bio in A levels, right? But I see you took bio in high school. So I'm gonna ask you a bio related question, which I mean wasn't wrong because I'm
Casually
applying for
trolling.
chemical engineering and biotechnology. So like she showed me a graph of like antibiotic resist, like no, like colonies of of bacteria against time. So she asked me what antibiotics were and all that. And I sort of like talked about how antibiotics like should be taken regularly. Like if like someone were to miss it, it could result in like the bacteria
Resistance.
become resistant to the antibiotic. So then I talked about using nanotechnology to have a self-release system um like drug delivery for nanotechnology, like encapsulating the nanopart the drug or the antibiotic in a nanoparticle. But then she just looked at me and like, oh, actually this is very wrong. Like at that point, I felt like, oh no, I'm not going to Cambridge. Like I was so confident somewhere, and then like she just said, oh, this is actually very wrong. So you can't do that. Like the antibiotic resistance will happen and all that. But yeah. Then after that, like I felt like that interview was definitely over for me. But then suddenly, I went out that interview like, um, never mind, I'm going to the US. And then, um, um, and then suddenly, like on the 24th of January, then suddenly an email popped up. Oh, we're pleased to offer you a place at Cambridge. So I don't even know how it went. Yeah, I don't even know how I got in at
Wow.
this.
Maybe there's like some element of fate right there. There tends to be a lot of like fate involved in like some of these things right here, or maybe like just little wonderful accidents here, there, and everywhere. Well, thank you for sharing that. I'll look forward to seeing what happens when eventually, what is it again, like Ivy Day comes along, and then like you come up and then we have this conversation again. Maybe another interview.
Fingers
Yup.
crossed for IBD. I don't have much hope lah, honestly. I've lost all hope already. Yeah.
Some people say like I this is like like if you play like some of those like games right there, like some people like they have like death flag kind of thing, but like this might be like like a premonition of like the future or something of that nature. Who knows? Like it'll be interesting to watch that happen.
I'll be manifesting the other Cambridge.
Manifesting.
Manifesting the other
Cool,
Cambridge.
interesting. Your dream school is Harvard
Okay, so
in the
here's the
US.
thing. Yeah, my dream school used to be Harvard.
Mm.
My dream school still is Harvard, but Cambridge came along.
Oh, so basically you were dating
Um,
like one girl right
yeah,
there.
so
You
it's
were
gonna
like
be,
chasing after one girl, and then like another one swooped in right there. It's like,
yeah, it's like that meme, like that the girl looking back and then the guy like it's a very very, very, very tough.
Oh yeah, oh my gosh. Oh.
But that's assuming I get into Harvard, which I probably won't. But yeah. Um fingers crossed anyway. But if it's not, then I probably it's a very easy decision.
Well, I mean, like, here's a little hitch for you, like in celebration of that possibility. Do you have any, I guess, like long-term goals for like studying chemical engineering? Because I know that that's like the main discipline that you're studying at this point.
Yeah, although I know like my research focuses on healthcare and all that, but I'm also like fascinated in how nanotechnological applications towards renewable energy. For example, like sustainable methods of doing hydrogen, because although as much I want to say like the hydrogen initiatives in Sarawak are it's a step to renewable energy, but at the same point I think it's like it's not there yet, and then like we still need more. So like because like the splitting of water, I'm sorry for nerding out by the way. So like
Totally fine.
like to split water you need electricity, right? So we're
Mm.
actually putting more electricity in
Then
order
what's getting
uh uh, to split water to form hydrogen.
mm,
So the return on like the ROI isn't efficient at all. So we're actually putting in more energy to get even less energy.
mm,
So it isn't sustainable, and that's something that I want to pursue in. And I wonder how I can use nanotechnology to solve this problem. So I guess my goal, okay, first of all, like graduate from university, which university, I don't think it matters at this point. Because like I told myself like before this, I told myself like, oh, because Shell's list is so hard, right? So I'm gonna, oh, if I even make it to one of those universities, I'll be happy. So after graduating, so I'll be fortunate enough to be absorbed into Shell's graduate program. So where I will be tackling all these real life environmental issues, hopefully as a chemical engineer,
mm.
and hopefully bring the sustainable energy to life and bring like Shell's vision of going net zero into a reality.
Wow. Okay, that's very, shall we say, yeah, okay, that's interesting. Wow. An oil company aiming for net zero. That'll be an incredible thing right there, and I hope that you'll be able to do that. To kind of like move towards the end, I guess like you've been watching Pathways for a while now. I guess like what would you say, I guess, have been some aspects of this channel, I guess, that have been helpful in like your own pursuits, I guess.
I guess the Pathways to Excellence series really motivated me to try, like seeing all those like successful people, like those people I know, like those like down to earth, like very real people, like these are real life stories, and like you get to hear perspectives that like yeah I've probably never even heard before. Like for example, Garian, she got into 5 Ivy Leagues at Stanford. Like, oh my god, like that, how is that humanly possible? And also
You'll be very happy to hear that, Ga Yuan.
yeah, like Melvin and Ian, like Stanford and Yale, what like and also like hearing how like the experiences like from like the Harvard series I enjoyed so much. I don't know like if it's biases or what, like Herman, I saw like that was on one, and also like Gerald. Yeah. So those are people that I look up to, and yeah, definitely, yeah, it's sort of like how to say, like concentrated my love even more for Harvard, but now Cambridge came along. It's like yeah.
Well, thank you so much. It's an honor, and yeah, so I'm glad that it managed to inspire you in some way, shape, or form. And thank you also for being a part of this series as well.
Yeah, no
And
worries.
I'm confident that you'll also inspire many other people as well through your journey as well. And on that front, are there any sorts of lessons or things that you like to impart onto the, shall we say, next generation out there?
um So never let age become like your deterrent. So never let someone tell you're too young to make a difference in your community, because you're not. You have a voice, and make sure you use that voice. And never let anyone tell you that your dream is too big. If it's too big, then it only makes you even work even harder to strive for it. So like back then, like when everyone like laughed at me, like saying, oh, oh, this guy wants to go to Harvard. And then like, oh, this guy has really big dreams. yeah, for sure he will get in and stuff like that. But honestly, it has made me want Harvard even more. And but yeah, I really say like, oh yeah, but it makes me want to like pursue my dreams even more and also go for it. Yeah. And like being from Sarawak, where a place like where not many people came from and not many people have this dream, it's very important for you to realize that you have, like what Alyssa said, you have a right as much as everyone else, like all your peers, to dream as much as anyone, like whether in a private school or in a government school, you have this dream, like you have every right to dream as much as anyone else and make that dream a reality.
Amazing. Cool. Well, thank you so much for this interview. I really appreciate it. Is there anything else that you'd like to potentially share with the audience as well?
Keep grinding. And sometimes even when you think your interview is disastrous or your test scores are disastrous, some miracles may happen, like me. So don't give up. Keep keep praying, I guess. Keep praying and keep manifesting. What will be yours will be yours.
Wow. Okay. Cool. Thank you so much, Joel. Really, really
No
appreciate it.
worries. Oh yeah, also one more thing is to be grateful for what you have. I guess coming to KY in general has taught me to be grateful. So like being rejected by all these scholarships and being rejected by Stanford. Actually, so I applied to Stanford early and I got rejected. I also
Mm.
believe in rejection is redirection. I've been told this many times. At first I thought it was like it's some sort of like it's just like motivation. Like they're just saying that to make you feel better. But once rejection is like it actually happens to you, you actually find that rejection is actually it's not even kidding. Like rejection is redirection. So for
Mm.
example, like I got rejected for like even scholarships. Like I got rejected from Yayasan Khazanah. I got rejected from how to say like bank. I got rejected. I didn't even get an interview for bank like UEM and all that. But also like I in the end I got Shell. And also like I got rejected from Stanford, but I got into Cambridge. So
Yeah. Mhm.
maybe that's where God wants me to be in the future. But yeah, it has taught me to definitely be grateful for where I am.
Wow. Okay. So thank you so much for this interview and yeah, so God bless indeed.
No way. Thank you. Thank you so
Yes.
much.